Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Welcome, people in Focus of Liberia land there. We have a very interesting show here today. I have with me our panelist, Joseph Towell. We hope the rest of the crew will be joining us as we progress. But in the meantime, let's move on. We have some topics to discover. Brother Towell, thank you for joining, and we appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Brother Jimmy. Hi to our viewers. We know that this is still a season. Most people are on vacation, so most of the panelists are not here today, but hopefully after all of the holidays, everybody will make it back. But I'm glad to be here to be part of this discussion.
Yes. So what we will do, we will jump in it right away. This weekend, we noticed that there was a retreat. The chief executive, President Buckeye, he and his men gathered in Lofa to celebrate the Christmas holiday. But surprisingly, there were some people absent from that holiday. We didn't see Henry Costa. We didn't see Senator Dillon. We didn't see the Senator Youngbley, the pro temp. And we feel that these people, they made the greatest sacrifice for this president, and now we no longer see them in the inner circle, and that is concerning. Anyway, let's welcome Vonnie. Mommy, thanks for joining, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, and continue.
Yeah, so we were talking about the first topic today. All the king's men were in Lofa, but some key players were missing. Senator Dillon was not there. Senator Youngbley, the pro temp, was not there. And we kind of wonder why they're not in the circle. These people, even Henry Costa, who was one of the key architects for the success of the arrest agenda, then they're no longer seen in the inner circle. Do we see a shift? Does this indicate something? Brother Towell, what do you think?
Yeah. Okay. In the first place, I don't know whether Costa is actually still within that rank because of everything that went on. Or I think at the last minute when he was sidelined, or whatever the disagreement were that play out publicly, he pretty much switched over to the CDC. I don't know whether they reconciled. He came back. I don't know. So I don't really think that is an environment in which Costa is really going to go. When it comes to the other two people like Dylan and Kanga, remember, this is just a coalition government. That's one. These people are from different parties, right? So, and they just came together for them to win so that they can all come to power. So maybe that's part of it. But this is what I would say though concerning this trip. What retreat or what are they celebrating really? Is this some kind of success in terms of achievement that they made in the first half or almost the first half of their leadership or of their government? That, what are they really celebrating? What is the retreat for? Because from what I know is retreat, there's some kind of victories and there's some things that you have to put on the table to be able to look at to say, okay, look, this is what we've accomplished. These are the key things that we need to try to tackle come next year. This is what I would say to just turn over to somebody. A government with the kind of budget that they release or pass or sign, whatever it is, it's not a serious government. And when we said it here, people are saying, "Oh, you need to go and look at line item." No, you don't need to look at no line item. We look at the budgets as it is. How can you take everything and then you hand it over to each other and share it, and there is nothing in there for investment in the public and anything else? Somebody was telling me that they put money in there for education. So if they're going to build school, then Liberian businesses will get contract. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about money actually allocated by the state to target major areas in the economy and within the country. Say some industries, some manufacturing, some type of, but something like that to target real programs that are clear. We don't want nothing to be hating inside something and say, okay, somehow somebody's going to get some kind of contract here or there. From what we know in Liberia, if people don't know about the Amara Connor and the Ellen Johnson, Salif, and all these people, how did they become farmers? How they all got to own farm? They were through the USAID, which are pretty much criticizing a lot with the programs, but there were a little bit of money released for agriculture. That should have actually gone to real farmers. They in Evanston, the south of that money, they all became farmers. If you bring something in now for somebody, for carpenters, for them to build houses, all the representatives, the senators, and the top ministers, they will all have a construction company immediately. They give the contract to themselves. So this is what you see in Liberia. So we don't want that kind of stuff where you bury some money in and somebody, they will all get contract. I was in Liberia. I went many places, LPRC, the port, all the stuff. There were projects that I could have done after they all the analysis. Almost everybody that were at those places, they wanted to come in and plan money inside my budget that I gave for what I wanted to do. And I asked many times, how am I going to account for this? This is what I am charging for this. I'm saying X amount of dollars you want for you to almost double it. So you pass it through me and I hand it to you. How am I going to account for it during taxation? I have to file taxes in the US and here. And this is why I'm critical of the group from the diaspora. These guys are from the diaspora. I met one of them at Total. She is from the diaspora. But this is the kind of game that they're playing. So when I look at it, I said, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. That's not the first time I heard this story. Before anytime you want to carry out a project, people want to ask you what is in it for them. And you correctly said you have to account for the money.
Yes.
So if you're running a $200,000 or $300,000 project, but you buff it up to 800,000, how will you account for the balance 500,000?
Yes. So
And
so
this is
these
not the
things.
first time I've heard this.
Yes. So I was in Labrador for a whole year because after my dad passed away, I went to actually spend time with my mom and to just be there and kind of put a lot of family stuff in place. So while I was there, I've set up 2 companies, and I said, okay, let me see what I can do. I dealt with the maritime organization. Being Kessley was in charge. It was the same thing. Everybody they want to plan money inside whatever budget. When you write your proposal and you say, okay, look, I can do this, LPRC, the whole pipelines and stuff, it was a mess. So through non-destructive testing, all kinds of stuff to write the proposal and then the codes and stuff, following AWS, American Welding Association, and the engineering board on how to refurbish those stuff and repair and do all of this stuff. That was a big project. Everybody lined up. They want to come and put money in it. The one at Total, I refused. I said no. So they went and got a French company. I said no problem. Okay, the Nigerian guy that was the head of Total, I spoke to him. He said, "Hey man, it's your own Liberian woman that is in charge of that division. She's the one that is blocking you. I look at your proposal; it's impeccable, everything really good. But I can't override her. She is the director of safety."
Yeah. So, Brother Mommy, Tawa is narrating a story that we hear all the time, that there is always what is in it for me when you want to bring any proposal or any project to the government. Those in charge will always kick back and say, what is in it for me? What do you make of this gathering in over the holidays, and where some key figures were missing, the likes of Senator Dillon and Senator Yombly? We noticed that they had a celebration in Bassa. You think is this looking like a crack in the unity of the whole agenda group?
Thank you very much. As I have seen in my political lifetime, political alignment and political realignment, and it will continue to happen till 2028. In fact, I will tell you that before this particular meeting or gathering, there were other gatherings that people who were not on board came on board. Some people left. In fact, people started leaving before this particular gathering. And it's not because of any political bad blood, but some of them do not see their interest, their personal interest, going through by the way of this administration. And so some of them are starting to readjust, some of them are starting to realign, but based on their political interest, they will realign again. That mean what do I mean? All right, maybe Dillon did not appear today, showing sign that he's disenchanted about something that he's not saying to the public. But the old man will read the tea leaves. Before you know it, if he can align, he can give his political interest a look, I believe you will see him back in the next trip. You'll probably see him around. And all these alignment and realignment will depend on how their interests are handled by the old man. Now, one of the observation I have. Second observation is that we have to wait maybe for next year, another retreat that will be happening. Because Lofa County, maybe this is the Christmas season. Other people have other activities that they were involved into. They could not make it. They're not telling us. There are a lot of things to read from it. But politically, if they're not there, most of the people, like you see Thomas Fala, you see your man Sir Joseph, all these people, you have to watch them. they are not about the Liberian people's interest. They are about their personal interest. I know Thomas Fala personally. We used to sell plane together. I was in Freeport selling plane. Thomas Fala was in Raleigh selling plane. Thomas Fala is not about the interest of the Liberian people. It's about his personal interest. When he can find a place where he can put his clothes, like the old man from Lofa used to say, you hang your clothes to where the sun will dry. I forgot his name. He was a diplomat, but yeah, he said that's the kind of person Thomas Fala is. He will hang his clothes to where it can dry. So now now that he knows that Joseph Boakai is having the gavel of authority, he will curry favor with him. He will align with him till he can get what he wants. He's ambitious, but he doesn't want. He want to take the shortcut to where he wants to get. Same as Sir Joseph. Sir Joseph is trying to take a shortcut to where he can get. All of them see Joseph Boakai that Joseph Boakai is an old man who, at the end of the day, he will not stay in power. So they're trying to get into the cloud, into the Unity Party cloud, to get around Joseph Boakai. They're not even interested in being politician. In being politician. You see, the man established a political party. Few months later, he jumped behind Joseph Boakai. What does that tell you? Does that tell you he's anybody? But look at the difference between he and I'm not a supporter of CMC, but look at what Musa Belete is doing, and look at what Sir Joseph is doing. Musa Belete established his political party almost the same time as Sir Joseph. But instead of going to kneel down to Joseph Boakai, Musa Belete is working for the people. You can see the difference. Sir Joseph, who is he working for? Joseph Boakai. Behind him all over the place. That tells you that he wants political power, he wants political favor, and he's not about the Liberian people. This is a clear indication for the Liberian people to see who is working, who really wants to help them. And Sir Joseph is not one of them. And that to say that Sir Joseph does not have the resources to assist his people, but he wants to take the shortcut. And to him, going through Joseph Boakai is the shortest way to get to where he wants to go. He probably wants to be somebody, I don't know, but Joseph Boakai is in fact, almost everybody in government now, they are in campaign mood. What you saw in Lofa is the beginning of Joseph Boakai and all the rest of the people campaign. So just watch out for more of these. The people who think that the Liberian people are very gullible, they are taking advantage of the gullibility of the Liberian people, and they are campaigning right now. And you can see that most people who want to get into power easily are getting on the bandwagon of Joseph Boakai, even though the ship is about to wreck, but they don't care. They will get the money, and at the end of the day, they will use it. They think they will use it to be able to get votes and convince the Liberian people to vote for them again. But unfortunately, the Liberian people are not stupid. We are learning our lesson. We're seeing what the priorities are. Instead of using the money that he got, the 6.1 million, instead of him using it to build centers for Zogos that he campaigned for, he building his private mansion, and when he got caught, he said he building it for peace building in the sub-region. He bought a $1.2 million car, and he got his University of Liberia State dilapidated. It tells us his priorities. And so we are taking note, and in 2029 or 2028, we're helping to decide where his fate will be. Thank you.
So you really believe that Liberian people are observing that his alliance, moving from CDC, he and Sir Joseph, moving from CDC to Unity Party, you think that will have negative effect on him come 2029?
Oh, well, it might not have, because it is a numerical game. But when people like us start to explain about the reasoning behind their departure, or the reasoning behind their gallivanting, their political gallivanting and political pussyfooting, the people will understand that these people are not in their interest. They might have one or two people more than like the few numbers that they will be able to distribute money on in Lofa. I mean, a lot of people are gullible, they will give them, but it's not enough to be able to determine, because for us as a generation, we know that these people are not fighting for us. We know that these people are not going to help us. And so we are taking notes. So they might get a few numbers here and there. I can't deny that. But is there going to be enough to be able to get them to where they need to be, the victory that they are fighting for? They're trying to. Criminals have decided to work with Joseph Boakai, and he's willing to dance with the devil only to claim political power in 2029 and continue to pillage our resources and exploit our country and the young people of the country don't have jobs. The young people of the country, they don't have good health care. The young people of the country don't have anything to depend on for the next generation. And we cannot continue to give these people power. As far as I'm concerned, in 2029, the decision to who will become will not be the Sir Joseph of the world. It will not be the Thomas Fallacies of the world. It will be people who are working for the Liberian people, who really mean well for the Liberian people.
Yeah, but Mr. Tao, we see that the troops are coming in, the people loyal to Lofa, Sir Joseph and Thomas Fala are lining up. They're both from Lofa. But surprisingly, as pointed out by Emmanuel Bra, a lot of Nima people were missing in that. Is this a crack in the agenda, or is just that the holiday people celebrating with their individual constituents?
I want to believe that's why it is, because for me, I don't know. Was there an announcement made that the government was gathering their officials in Lofa? I don't know, but I don't think so. I think the president was just going home, and people who sympathize with her, close to him, within the same government, they went with him. And if this was a good government, if this was a good governing structure, right, that we had, that was one that was working, I think that is how it actually should be. Okay, because this is similar to, like, okay, before George Weah came to power, there are a lot of people in the country that are affiliated with different churches, that, I mean, in the government, that enter government. But the moment he built some church, everybody show up at that church if the president show up there. That's nonsense. That's really nonsense. So we have to be able to get away from stuff like that. I can still work in the government and still go to my church. I don't have to go to the president's church. I don't have to join it by force so that I can show I'm not loyal to the president. I'm loyal to the nation. Even though, yes, I work at the pleasure of the president, but just like the president himself, he worked for the nation, so directly work for the nation. So if these guys meant well, everybody not being over there should not really be an issue, because the president is going to go celebrate Christmas in his hometown. Every senator don't have to be there from the party. Every body in the government that was appointed or selected don't have to be there. And so, but just because these guys, they are not serious, and the reason we see it like this, because this is how it has always been, that wherever the president goes, instead of people being loyal to state or to nation, they're loyal to individuals and to some kind of organization, like the political party. So they place these individuals and the parties ahead of the country. That is why it seems to be that way. Yeah, he raised a good point. And remember that whether they want to say it or not, but the vice president himself, he's still very young and he have political ambition. So it said that the Lofa group are trying to position themselves so that they can delay. If the vice president believes that he has the number in Nimba plus other places, so that they can delay him coming to power, just in case Boaka is unable to run in 2029. So they are not going to try to show up there at every little thing. Just like Naomi said, everybody kind of watching and they're repositioning themselves, and they're kind of just organizing themselves and observing. So by like 2027, 2028, that is when you will actually see, if you see something like this, that is when it will actually really mean something, right? Because now you know that people are the cracks or whatever fall down, the division, the demarcation are going to get solid now at that point going forward. So like he said, they start Joseph and all these guys, if they look that they're getting blocked from the same Liberty Party that joined, you might see them right back into CDC or somewhere else. But this is, I want to make this one point quick. I know that Musa Ability have been going around and doing some stuff. Quite all right. But we cannot just point at Musa Ability building some bridge or some bridges and don't point out how he got that money. He got that money by hanging around the government, they want to say, oh, he got his brick from Sawyer. Who was Sawyer? Sawyer owned any bank or any business?
No,
It
he
was
did.
the same
He
guy.
did have a bit a gas station.
Yeah,
Sawyer opened
yeah,
one gas station. I think they call it Sahara or something like that.
yeah. It was the same guy that entered Ellen government, and when he was leaving, he boasted that I came in with 5 million, I'm leaving with 50 million. So he made these statements. Everywhere he was put, just like everybody else, he was caught up into corruption. But because Liberia is so messed up that nobody questioned him, nobody called him responsible until he brought that same nonsense at FIFA. Forget about FIFA being corrupt. But the allegation that they level and go and look at the case, they want to say he never won the court, yet he won the court. FIFA have its own code of arbitration. That is where they held Blatter and Platini and responsible, and they forced them out. He was brought over there, he was found guilty, and he was banned. So we have to look at that. So he's not any kind of angel, okay? If he could be in no kind of area all the years that he handled, that he was over the FA, look, tell me anything that he did that was tangible. My own cousin was over there with him, that they're close friends, okay, at the executive committee. I sat with him. All they did was to share FIFA money that came for sport development, okay? So that's one aspect. And the other thing here is, he building some bridges, that's fine. It's going to be them people are going to use it. But this, now, if you support these guys, this is what we want. We don't want a guy that was elected or put in a position to create a national framework that run independently of them with the damn God stuff. That's not. Let them put in place programs, because this is the problem that we keep having. He will put in place a representative or senator or whatever. Let them pass laws and put in place and write bills that create an independent development scheme and framework that don't have, oh, look at Sir Joseph's building the one that Musa ability. No, that is not what they are there for. They are not there for them to build anything. They are there for them to design and put in place programs that run independently of them.
Right.
This is the part that we keep trying to miss. Here, Open here, and he was sharing money all over the place. Every time Open was sharing money, going here, get Open not in power anymore. Open so nice. Why he's not sharing? Because when we used to mention it, they say, oh, that's his own money he reached. Now he's still rich. Why he's not sharing anything anymore? But it's this kind of things. We don't need a president or a senator that will be going here and give some small burger. No, we don't need that. Run the country in a way where we run, where everybody have the opportunity for them to get their own rights, where the public works and the different development agencies have funding and they run so that they can build the country. When they start happening like that, then even if Musa ability is not there or whoever is not there, the system will run. But what they're doing is criminal.
Okay.
They're circumventing the system. Musa ability is hold onto corrupt money. Once you are in our house with the kind of salary, with the kind of benefit, with the kind of per diem, with the constituent visit, with the agricultural break, that's corrupt money that they're all holding onto. They're all corrupt at that point. If we can see the stuff that they pointed out, not because we like this person or that person, but it should be our goal for us to hold them responsible. You are not there for you to develop anything. Show me in the Constitution where they are responsible for development of the country. No, they are there for them to put in place laws and policies and framework that allow the country to run independent of anybody else of them.
All right. So
Tao was making, just before you come in, Tao was making a strong point. I've heard people accuse we are not building institutions, whereas these institutions will function normally no matter what administration is there. But instead, we focus on individual popularity, whereas people are gesturing out of their pocket instead of building the institutions that's supposed to carry on these functions. Where you come from? Where's your opinion on this claim here?
Okay, so I'm one of those who believe in institution building. But here's the problem. Liberia as it is now, unless there is a massive and dramatic reform in our system, the way the system operates, Does that legislature look like a legislature that will put in place mechanism for people to experience a change in their life for the next 5 years or the next 3 years? No. You see a speaker who was brought to power on the basis of allegation against another speaker that he has proven to be worse than, and he's still speaker. You have a speaker who, I don't even know his loyalty if it's to the country, because I'm getting to understand that he has some Nigerian lineage. So, and nothing has been done about it. And there are allegations, wild allegations that can be proven beyond all reasonable doubt that have been brought against him that nobody is even asking questions about. Does that legislature, when we're talking about demagoguery, that is what resembles demagoguery, to the point where a speaker calls himself a regime speaker, and is that a speaker that you expect for a representative to go and divert attention to carry on projects that will benefit the masses? No. So the only way to enter that to get our system to work is to work with the way the system is right now till you can carry on a reform. I am for reform. I am for institutionalization of these political systems. But until you can come and do something significantly different, we're going nowhere, because that legislature, number one, it is being controlled by the executive branch. You've seen it during the Kofa and the Kofa saga.
The Kofa Gate, yes.
Yeah, you saw what happened. So everything is being micromanaged by the executive branch. And you expect a Musa ability as a representative to go and influence decisions at that legislature to benefit you and myself? No. And the Liberian people, because of the gullibility of the Liberian people, the only thing that they can understand is carry on construction or carry on projects that will affect their lives, like carry on road projects that will be able to get them to take their food to marketplaces. And that's how people won election in Liberia. That's the playbook. You go do something else, your institutionalization. Look at the MPP. That's one of the institutions. They are institutionalized. Look at other political institutions. Their heads are gone. They still exist, but where are they taking the country? Nowhere. They cannot do anything. Like, which other institution I will talk about? Several institutions are in the country. Most of them, of course, they are headed by some political godfather. But if you want to talk about institution, that legislature is not a place that you can use institution to transform, because it is controlled by the executive, it is controlled by a regime speaker, it is controlled by a person accused of criminal acts, and all the criminals are aligning with this government so that they can be set free from persecution. That's the reason why you see Thomas Fala stole his money, he gone to the Unity Party, he gone to Joseph Boakai. You see your man Sir Joseph, he gone to Joseph Boakai. You see your man Kun with all the criminal allegations around him, who does he go to? Or who did he go to? Joseph Boakai. That is a safe haven for criminals. So you have to have someone who is willing to confront them. And unfortunately, Musa Belede is not here to defend himself. I don't know whether people are guilty as charged. I don't know whether he has a criminal or conviction against him. I don't have that information. If you have it, please share it with us.
No conviction. There was some balance money that he owed the government, and he settled with the government to be paying in installments. And that's the only thing I know. I don't know of any conviction.
So action or debt is not a criminal offense. Action or debt, myself, I was on the plane fee. I used to take people plane. Sometimes the plane is condemned and is not worth the money that I took it for, and the balance money I will pay in installments. We'll go to court and I'll tell the person, say, look, this plane was rotten, it was condemned, and I did not make the money I was supposed to make. I owe you $500. Yes, I did not make that money. So this $500, when I make other money from other profit from other plane that I will sell, I will pay your money in installment. Doesn't show that I did anything criminal. It just show that I owe money. And in Liberia, to owe money is not a crime, not that I know of. So I'm not trying to defend Musa ability. He can defend himself better than I can. But as far as I know, when you're talking about criminal conviction, he doesn't have one. Other people who have criminal conviction, they're passing around in the country. And some of them are even at the United Nations. Some of them are in government. Joseph Boakai is accommodating them. And I mean, we just have to find a way to change the system without condemning everybody who's supposed to fight for the system.
But Mami, I'm glad you talking about changing the system. And let's stay with the speakership. There are reports that 22 members of the House of Representatives operating under the so-called majority bloc are plotting the removal of Speaker Kuhn and Deputy Speaker Fala. This raises troubling questions, as you might imagine. Is Liberia once again on the brink of a chaotic, destabilizing season on Capitol Hill, where power struggles eclipse governance and the people's business is held hostage to political intrigue?
First of all, it's like we predicted. This removal of speaker, the fact that it was given credence by this government, is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's not. There's no incentive for it to stop or disincentive for it to stop. In fact, there's more incentive now for it to continue. Every speaker who comes to that place, who's not careful, who does not have a clean record, who has skeleton in his closet, is going to be removed. And for Kuhn, I don't even have a problem with him being removed. If 22 people can gather and get more signatures and muster the will and have the, because they're supposed to be at least 44, according to what the law says, let them remove him. If what he did requires removal or meets the requirement for removal, he should be removed. It has nothing to do with the Liberian people, because as far as I'm concerned, the speakership of the Liberian government is solely based on the decision of those who are representatives in the House of Representatives. So if they decide that today they don't want their speaker, I have no say. I don't have a vote. Representative, I can only talk to my representative to decide otherwise, based on what evidence they will produce or based on the resolution they will come up with, and the items within the resolution say, okay, XYZ, he did XYZ that violates the law, he did XYZ that violates our constitution. I see it and I believe it. I know that it's right, evidence, sufficient evidence, and they are going to remove him for that. I will support I'll tell my representative, go ahead, vote for it. But if there's no reason to remove a speaker and they just want to do it because they want to gain political favor or they want to get more money in their budget for their private use, no, I would say no. But if there's sufficient evidence to prove that this particular speaker does not meet the requirement or is not eligible, or because of what he has done, as far as I'm concerned, he deserves a fair trial or he deserves a hearing. So let him go through the process like Fonati Kofa went through. And
did Fonati Kofa have a fair trial?
No, it wasn't fair, in my opinion. It wasn't fair, in my opinion. It was never fair. So let him go down the same road he took Fonati Kofa, and let him give him a fair trial, which I believe they were not going to be willing to do, but that is what I want. And if he can justify that these allegations are false, he can walk away. But if he cannot justify, especially to be audited, because I believe that particular legislature is one of the most corrupt branches of our government. If they can go through, because they said that because of audit and other things for which they removed Fonati Kofa today, they have not been audited. They are continuing to increase their budget and funnel the resources of the country for their own benefit. So these people, most of them need to go. Not only the speaker, representatives alike, all of them when the next election cycle come around, most of them need to pack their bags and leave. So with respect to the speaker, if you ask me, let him go through the process, and if he's guilty, let him be removed. Thank you.
Mr. Tao, if these reports are true, that a block of lawmakers are looking to remove the speaker and deputy speaker, should that concern us? Are we going to see this, what do they call it, chairs where people, the children game they used to play, that, it keeps on moving, and if it stops, if you don't have a seat, then you're gone. Is this a distraction? Do you think it is a positive thing that we're looking again to remove a speaker? How do you think that might affect the governance of the country?
Yeah. Remember that you have a group that write their own laws, that increase their own salary. That imagine you where you work or whatever organization you're affiliated with, you're already getting paid for that. But for you to go into a meeting to be able to sit through some workshop that will determine some kind of input on the decisions that are required for the organization to move in a certain direction, you demand money. What they call our committee rooms and all this stuff. Well, I'm making this statement to say that all of the fights that they're having, whether they remove this speaker or that speaker, is not in the interest of the Liberian people. Funati Kofa audit where this is the same guy that was encouraging them to rock keke because they needed a 45,000 for them to buy their car. This is the same guy that there is all of the allegations that he was calling them together and he was trying to bribe them for him to win the speak. That's how he got into the speakership. So they're all dirty. Okay. Whether they remove somebody and don't remove somebody, it really does not change the outlook of the country with respect to the country's interest. I proposed on here many times, 2 years this month. First, that this governing system that you have that was imposed in Africa, in particular, is not practiced anywhere else, not even here in the US. They don't practice that kind of loose, open, porous, easily manipulated kind of stuff. The US are one-party state run by the corporations with parties just with two names. That's it. The money guys run it. So in Liberia or in Africa, you know that, listen, go around the world and listen. Have you ever heard anything about multi-party democracy on any other continent? It doesn't exist. That is only applicable to Africa because we are dumb enough that the same people that exploited you, the same people who have the history and the record of destroying generations, plundering you, bring something to you and they say this is good for you, and you accept it. Without question, that I've had a discussion with people from Washington, D.C. and state government, and we agree on it. It is only another African who feel that it is their duty for them to defend the very system that is exploiting them. So it doesn't matter whether they change the speaker, change that one, put this one there. The system was set up and it was never meant to work for you. My brother, if it was meant to work for you, they would never give it to you. The US demand democracy. The West demand democracy and all this stuff. Why aren't they demanding that there must be enough power in the country? Why are they demanding that your iron ore must be refined to where you add value to it in the country? Why are they demanding that, no, you have to be able to feel your own pressure the government, sanction them? You see that? Because those things are actually what benefit you. So they're not going to go there. So it doesn't matter. I propose here, you need that governing system to be dismantled. It's never, ever going to work. It was never designed to work for you. You need you see that House of Legislation, all that stuff, Senate, they need to be eliminated. I said it here many times, and other panelists started coming to that realization. We are not the only country that don't have that. Other countries have that and they dissolve them. Or go and read the Constitution, remove that. What are the two things that the guys actually do, other than their corruption, or that they're there for which they make all this money? They pass budget, and then they pass concessions. That's the two things. That's it. Nothing. Look, we have enough laws on the book. They're not writing no law. People that are working 2 days a month, you dissolve that. Concession, put it off a referendum. If you want to go cut the Putu Mountain open, put it off a referendum, let the people vote on it. That's the citizens who have vested interest in it. If you're going to pass the budget, these are once a year. If you're going to pass the budget, guess what? If you decide that you're going to give NSA 100 million, give the executive mansion or 50 million, and then for water supply and for electricity and for agriculture, you're going to put 1 million. Put it out there, let the people vote on it. If the people vote and they pass those kind of bills, so guess what? There will be no crook sitting in no house getting some brown envelope. electoral politics in its present form is a criminal system. We're talking about corruption now. The corruption starts at the very inception when you talking about campaign. You have money involved. Who provide the money? Who fund these guys? That is where you ask the question.
Yeah.
Not that time that they're in office, because funding, people invest in them.
Right.
And the guarantee that they give to the people is the resources and the nation of Liberia.
Right. So mommy.
Yes, sir.
Our brother Tower always brings up this point that the system in itself is not working for us. That this system needs to be completely reformed, or a brand new system adopted and put in place. Do you think that is the problem, or is it the problem that we do not follow the rules and guidelines that we have embodied in the Constitution, and as a result, the system is not working? Which one do you think it is?
Well, first of all, I will have to disagree that they work twice a month. I will agree that they work Tuesday and Thursday. They work most of the time, but other days they do other legislative responsibility. We shouldn't dismiss the fact that they work at least twice a week, and other parts of the week, like Monday, Tuesday, they do other legislative functions. They do committee room meetings. Yeah, they do constituency visit. So I want to just put that out there so that the public don't carry the idea that they work twice a month. No, that's not true. But here's the thing. I agree with him that we need a systemic reform. We need reform in the system. But mind you, America has two political parties, two new, well-established political parties that run the country. And yet they had a removal of a speaker twice under President Trump, right? If I'm not mistaken, from McCarthy to Speaker Johnson. All right. So it will not change the fact, even if you have a two-party system and you have the system working like a fine engine, the issue about removal of a speaker will happen if the need arises. So the fact that the need has arisen, and the speaker is in the crosswires, the speaker is under serious allegations of fraud, of malfeasance, of corruption, there is a need for his colleagues who believe in their integrity to some extent to say that, oh man, you can't be our head. No. If even a group of Boy Scouts were parading and the chicken roll in the group was the one, the squad master, they all have the right to say, no, we can't have the chicken roll of the group being our head and representing us. It doesn't speak well of us. So let's change him. It's fair enough. It's a fair deal. Even though it's not going to benefit the Liberian people. But man, for the sake of integrity, for the sake of dignity, for the sake of self-respect, why would you want to have a person accused of massive fraud, not only in Liberia, but in the United States, to be a speaker? Somebody who is accused of having a Nigerian lineage. Why is Liberia like this? In which country do you have a speaker of the country having his mom coming from another country and there's no question being asked about it? What about sovereignty? What about loyalty? You understand? So it is within their right to decide who is the best among them to lead them. And I don't want to believe Richard Kuhn is the best person among those people, all those people in our house, to be speaker of that house. And so his removal, when it goes through any legal proceeding or any legislative, whatever is required by law to remove him, it happens. I'm up for it. I'm really down for it.
You want to see at least an inquiry into Speaker Kuhn's activities? That's what you want to look.
Yes, they should bring it to the floor. They should discuss it. They should ask for evidence. If the evidence used against him strong enough to have him removed, he should be removed for the sake of dignity. The issue about systemic change, I agree with my brother, because this system, the way it's designed, has not proven to be the best system to assist the Liberians to raise out of poverty, because the executive, this is a paper tiger, or a legislature that is like dance to the whims and caprices of the president. So anything that they want, that's what they do. They don't work for the Liberian people, they work for the president. When the president passes a budget, it reflects the will and pleasure of the president, the will and pleasure of the legislature, the will and pleasure of the judicial branch, and other people who are in higher up, the sycophants, the surrogates, and the cronies of the president. That's what they're working for. So we need a systemic change. And I agree. Let me one point before I leave. The way our legislature will work is when it is based on the decision of the people. We don't actually, in the 21st century, if I was president, I really don't need a legislature as big as the Liberian legislature. Because what we're doing with 2 senators, how does that benefit us? We need 1 senator is enough. In fact, if you ask me, all the representatives just need to be represented by a few persons, and it's 1 senator, because they're not making any important laws. In fact, if you want to make law now, you just go to ChatGPT, it will give you everything you need. So the way technology has advanced, most people in our legislature need to pack their bag and go home, so the money that they used to pay them can go towards development. That's how it's supposed to be. We need to start reimagining how our legislature should be in the 21st century. And the way it is right now is a disincentive to development, it's a disincentive to job creation, it's a disincentive to the next generation. So we need to get rid of it. Thank you.
Well, the reason we have senators is they are supposed to be representing their constituents, okay? And the number of constituents determine how many senators are required. So we expect these people to be representing their constituents at the same time, voting and deciding various adaptations, various concessions, and all those other things they do in the Senate, that they are there to weigh on each one of these things and decide what is best for the country. So you're saying that we only need 1, not 2.
Yes, because those very people who are piling up over there, when you ask them about certain concession, what do? They go and get experts. They go and find experts. The experts are the ones who do the heavy lifting. They don't do anything. So what is big about what they are doing that the experts cannot do? So we only need to listen to the experts. 1 person can make the decision for Nimba County. Does Bapolu look like a place that has a population to have 2 senators? Does Bomi look like a county? It's my own county. Does it look like a place that have a population that need to have 2 senators? No. So we need to get rid of it.
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Tao.
Yeah. So look at what happened here. What Mommy said, I'm going to touch on that. But when I said the word twice a month, it was a statement I was making, but it's not far-fetched. From what you said that it worked twice a week. Imagine working 8 days out of the month and making over 20 grand or close to $20,000. You said the other days they do some other duties. What other duties? They don't do anything because they say they go do constituent visit. They have to get paid for it. Imagine you are hired to do a certain job. Then you demand that you get paid to show up at the job site or the job site. That's the kind of stuff that we have going on. Why are you hired? You're getting paid. And for you to go to the areas that you're supposed to actually, that require you to get, in order for you to understand your job, to know what you're supposed to do, that you must get paid. Constituent visit. Who are they that they're giving agricultural break and giving money? For what? All the things need to go. Look, Mommy, they need to dissolve those guys. Look, you see, we borrow too many things from too many areas. I don't know, maybe you are too young and maybe you are not familiar with the African justice system. What they call, let's just look at the justice system that we adopted from them, or that was imposed on us, because these systems were imposed. They were imposed by the barrel of the gun. Anybody who don't see it, then they're just joking. To know that they're imposed, see, anyone that want to change it, you see the Sahel state, the moment they say they want to change it, immediately the bomb dropping all around them. Okay, because that is the only way people control you. But let's just take, for example, the justice system. There is no justice in the Western setup. In order for you to get justice, you must have money. Anytime you are accused, allegation, whether it is clear that you are not even in that place, they say, "My man, you want to win that case? Get the best lawyer." They say it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. They come up with all of this stuff. So the justice system, African justice system, don't work that way. You are open, and if you look at how the justice, we are sitting here and we think that other people's way of doing things, how they will get convinced. It's because we are not aware of our own history. Everything that they're trying to tell you to do, go back and look at your history. History guide you. In history lies the framework and the instruction manual. You think what we are doing here, what we are in today, we've been in it before. But we free ourselves out of it. And the instruction and the framework lies in our history. They told us, forget about your history. We are here celebrating July 4th. We are here celebrating Chinese New Year. That is their history. So you see, this is what they did. They falsify our consciousness. Go back into your history and see how you dealt with these people before, how you are able to overcome them and defeat them. And all that is in your history. So in the African justice system, for example, you don't have the lawmakers are actually very, very much abreast and aware of the law. You have lawmakers that have no idea of the law. Even the law that we are practicing that is not common to us or borrowed from somewhere, but the people that are in. How can you say you're a lawmaker when you are not even a lawyer, or when you have no idea of the law? You can come from the playing field. You can come from your accounting office. You can come from your doctor office or medical, and you just go and you run and you become a lawyer. I mean, you become a representative or senator to go make law, and they say your duty is to make law. What law are you making when you have no idea of the law? You are not trained in the law. What law are you going to be making? We have to be able to look at these things like that. It's not just common sense matter. Do you know that they tell you that you're going to be judged by jury of your peers? That's another flaw. Okay, so when I speak, they tell me I'm not a lawyer. You can't talk in legal matter. But they will go ahead and send me a letter that I had jury duty. I should go sit and decide the life of somebody, whether they're going to be put to death or not. You see this kind of stuff?
Yeah, but Dr.
No,
Tao,
let me end right. So you see, when the jurists in the African tradition, they are trained in the law, and they within the community. You can look at this and extrapolate this, and see what you can remove, what you can modify and implement that. Everybody else in the world doing that. The moment we can read some small stuff and solve some small math problem or English problem, we are not African anymore, we are something else. The Japanese, he can leave from the lab as scientists that work with some of them and go into a shrine and go worship. We are the only people.
yeah.
We must come back to that. We are following a blueprint that is wrong for us.
And
Well,
I want to stick with that point. Don't land yet, because what you're saying is
Okay.
there's few examples of when rule by the West was rejected. Haiti called for their freedom and actually defeated France. But do you know what happened? They were ganged upon by the Britain, United States, and France. They almost put a blockade, and then France imposed a tax on them because they claimed their freedom, that they didn't stop paying that money until but recently.
Yeah.
So this freedom or this liberation you're talking about, we have seen it came at a drastic cost, because Haiti, that was the gem of the Caribbean, is now an impoverished country. Now, interesting, we've seen this again with Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Do you not expect the West will retaliate or impose their will again on on African
So,
people?
so that should not even be the point that we should be concerned about. The point, the reason that anybody is able to retaliate, anybody is able to do anything, is because of the consciousness of us as a collective group, right? They cannot come directly. Let me tell you something. They're spiritual principles. It doesn't matter how powerful or strong you are. Yes, there are spiritual principles where you have to create justifications. These justifications come through people from within. You know, like if we study biology or like small, or if you do like the atoms and stuff like that, you can't get in, like viruses and bacteria cannot directly get into the cell until the cell interact with them, elements within the cell. So it's the same way the principle function in real life. How was Toba overthrown? They didn't come in there and then just no. People from within, you are unsatisfied with the Toba government. But if we're really aware of our own history, we said, no, we don't like the Toba government, but dealing with Toba is much better than allowing America to be the one that is going to influence this.
Wow.
It happened in Iran, it happened in China, it happened in Korea, it happened in many other places. They can disagree, but they're not going to let the actual enemy, they cannot form any alliance with them. They will try to find a way internally.
Good point.
So there should be our concern here. Our concern, like you're talking about Haiti, when Toussaint Louverture and Dessalines, when they overthrew the British, people don't know about the kicking out of the French from Haiti. That's what caused Napoleon army to collapse, because they were running on Haitian sugar. That is what caused France, the French Empire under Napoleon. That's how it collapsed. Okay, the United States seeing that if they have a black nation right here freeing itself, holding on to slave would not be good. So what happened? They blockade, is not almost, they actually blockade Haiti and force Haiti into paying reparation to French slaveholders for freeing themselves. Because we have to talk this history, but we are talking about the history of the people that are giving you something that they say this is good for you. They bring to you is not good for you. What happened? Because Haiti is like this today. They don't want to look at the history. It is only us. They tell us, don't look at the history. Start right here. Without history, you are nothing. Jimmy, when did you learn how to talk? Is it today? It's in the past. History is something that you did then, not now. And history is never in the past, it's actually present. Because in the mind of the human, the history is always present. Guess what? History is the only thing we have. The future, the present is incomplete. The future is an illusion, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
It is on, no, let me get them. So it is on history that you base everything, and then you try to craft the present to project what you want to achieve in the future. And so this is where Africa is. We forgot that they told us don't have any interest in your history. So we have no guy that can actually help us to know what we need to do now to get to where we need to get. Everybody else holds on to their history. So it is not that. It is if me, you, Name, everybody else will recognize this and we say, oh, whoa, hold on. The West is not able to do anything in Liberia or in Africa, anywhere, without recruiting from amongst us. They have to recruit from, look at what you just said here in Nigeria. Nigeria now trying, the government trying to save their own butt, are allowing their ground to be used as a staging ground to destabilize the Sahel group. If Nigeria understood this and they said, no, we're not going to let you come here, even if we don't agree with Niger, we're not going to allow that because we know your history with us. We have more affinity with them than you. Guess what? They will be locked out. They can't force their way in. They cannot. It don't work that way. Cuba sitting right here for almost 60 years because they could not infiltrate. They could not force their way in. And one thing that the last thing I want to say, don't let nobody lie to you that the Western democracy is the only form of government. It is new. The world been running. If it is the best in all other form of government so bad, why do they try so much to destabilize any government that say, okay, we don't want your democracy, we're going to do something else? The fear that something else will work better or could work better. So
Yeah.
then when they go ahead and destroy it, then they say, you see, that government was going to work only if it was democracy.
Right. So,
we
Mame,
have to-
Yeah.
Mame,
Yeah.
one would argue that Haiti's fatal weakness was not independence; it was economic isolation without alternatives. Now, the liberation that Mr. Tao is calling for, are we independent enough that we can afford to withstand any similar action against us by the Western nations?
All right, thank you. I don't know how we left from discussing our legislature and how we can reform it to going into Haiti and going into how young I am or how history is impacting. I don't know how we got to those places. I mean,
we are talking about the system.
I'm coming.
And that's how we got to Haiti.
I'm coming. So I'm well read when it comes to history. I know about the Haiti Revolution. It was based on economic isolation because, in fact, they were almost like the breadbasket when it comes to sugar and coffee. And so that isolation from the West and other parts of the world led into what they became today, a pariah. But that's not what I want to discuss. I want to discuss what reforms in the legislature can happen, what kind of impact we can make. I don't want to have those wild dreams about revolution when it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen in my generation. My generation has been underprivileged. My generation has been politically disenfranchised, economically disenfranchised. We bore the brunt of the war that took place in our country. We now have a legislature that's supposed to make budgetary allocations for us to be able to improve, for our brothers and sisters to have jobs, for Zogos to live from the street, for our sisters to have better health care. And we're supposed to be discussing how we can be able to reduce the budget of the legislature or legislators, how we can cut down the size of the legislature so that money given to those people for doing nothing, like you explained, so that those money can go towards empowering the youth. I'm saying, because I'm old enough to know that to have 2 senators in Bomi County was an accommodation. To have 2 senators in Bapolu was an accommodation. To have 3 representatives in Bomi County was an accommodation. We did not meet the benchmark or the numerical value required for us to have 3 representatives and 2 senators. They said, okay, let's just add it, round it up. Because by law, we're supposed to have at least 40,000 persons to a representative. But you go to Bomi County, go and check the record. It's not the case. And so they just, for political accommodation, they allow Bomi County to have 2 senators and I think 3 or 4 representatives.
They're trying to add more. Mommy, they said they might add more. They voted the other day to add more.
So they said they sat down, the very legislators sat down and decided that Bapolu, as small as Bapolu is, they should have more than 2 representatives, or they should have 2 senators. And Bapolu became a county just day before yesterday. Not later in later terms, but when Chief Jalalo wanted accommodation from Charles Taylor, he said, "Oh, give me Bapolu as a county." Bapolu was once part of Lofa. It used to be called Lower Lofa.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they call it Bapolu is because Bama and Bopolu came together, they made the capital to be Bapolu. It's a combination of Bama and Bopolu. You understand? So they did not meet the numerical value required to have the number of representatives they have or the number of senators they currently have. But it was accommodation. So when we go back to the book and we go back to having 40,000 persons to a representative, the number of representatives we have in the legislature today, it will be far less. And the number of senators, if we actually decide to go by numerical, but Bomika is not supposed to have 2 senators. Like Nima has 2 senators. Can you imagine Nima got 2 senators, Lufa got 2 senators, and places like River Cess, River G. Does that place look like a place that have the number of persons to be represented by 2 senators? 2 senators for what? I'm saying one of the structural reforms we need is to reduce the number of senators we have, the number of representatives that we have, and go according to the book. If you go according to the book, some places supposed to have less representatives than it has right now. Some places supposed to have no senator at all. Supposed to have, if anything, 1 senator for each county. That's enough. What laws are they making? What representation are they making? What oversight are they having? So I'm saying one of the structural reform is to reduce the number of representatives, reduce the number of senators. When you take one senator salary alone, you know how many every month, you know how many Zogos will be left living from the street? If you go according to the structure, the representatives that we actually supposed to have, like Bomi is supposed to have maybe 3 representatives. They should not have 4 representatives. They should have 3 or 2.5. So if you take 2 out, this representative salary, the representative gas slip, and all the kind of thing, you know how many roads will be built? You know how many hospitals will have dropped? You know how many development will take place? You know how many youth will be empowered? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about things that we only dream about. No, I'm talking about something that can happen, something that we can fight for, something that is achievable, something that we can do gradually, and we can get to the revolution in the maybe next 4 or 5, 10 years. But for now, I believe there's a possibility for us to fight for what we believe is possible. And what is possible is for us to reduce our number of representatives based on the law. We can reduce our number of senators based on the law, and the money that was supposed to go to them as salary and benefits can go towards other projects that will empower the youth and develop the country. Thank you.
So Name, let me just say something. When I asked about your age, it was not to put you down, but I was talking this with respect to the African tradition, because I know that the younger people that are under maybe 35 or so, by the time they came up, a lot of the social structure in the traditional sense have been damaged or diminished. So they didn't get the chance to experience some of the things that I was talking about in terms of like the justice system. So that is why I said that. That is why I asked, I don't know how old you are. So I didn't mean to say that you don't have knowledge of anything. No. So that is why I asked that question. Because there are things that when other people that are older than me, when they're talking about, they ask the same question because I didn't have the chance to experience it with respect to that, and then they will explain it. And if I ever experience it, then I say, okay, yeah, I'm aware of that. Or yes, I was present once and this happened. So no, it have nothing to do with anything.
Right.
But look,
Mr. Tao, what Mommy is saying, instead of doing something drastic or imagining an abrupt change like a revolution or a dramatic event, what can we do? Strategic steps like reducing the number of representatives, number of, are there some strategic moves we can make that will make our government more functional and reducing the fat?
You see what he just said at the last about what to do. That's part of the revolution. The revolution is not something that they don't have to start as an abrupt stuff to say just remove this and you create. No, that is not what it is. What you just described here. But how do you know which direction we should drive that? You must have the requisite or this information that we are discussing, the history and the culture and the tradition from how we work and what we need. That will determine how you do these. And so you are still within the same realm from what you are explaining. If we don't have a real grasp of this stuff, each time we try to do it, we have a lot of missteps and mistakes. But look, you said something. Let me go a little further. You said that how you mentioned all these areas. You are right. That why should they have all of these people? But I proposed this year before on some of the immediate stuff that can be done, even if we want to just leave what we have right now in place. I know that it's very difficult for the bodies to be independent, but it would be much better. An independent body is created that determine pay structures and benefits and everything else within the government across the board, whether you representative, senator, increment in executive branch, all of this stuff, so that aspect of it is taken away from the hands of the representative, that they're deciding what to give themselves in each budget. They put this there, they put that there. There should be an office of the budget. That's the first thing. Okay. Now, the way budgets are created in Liberia is wrong. The budgets are not created based on any kind of projection where you want to take the country in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Let's just say the government is there for 6 years, in the next 6 years. So that what are the project points that you're looking at? No, it's about How much this person going to get paid? What is going to be his salary? What is going to be the benefit? That is why you always see that there is no money for development in there, because the budget is not developed along that line. And so that office of budget that will determine this thing is going to be working along with planning. Ellen wanted to have direct control of the money through her finance minister that is there today. This Connor that wants to be talking like he knows something. So they dissolve planning and development because they're going to be pretending that they're carrying some development. What a finance minister, you only cut checks. That is all you do. You don't set no budget. You don't do none of, you cut checks and you disburse it. But because she wanted to control the money for development, she poured development on her finance. It need to come back out. And planning and development need to have actual branches built. Work in collaboration with public works throughout the area. The Department of Budget or Budget Bureau is going to be the one planning the budget based on where we need to get and the things we need to accomplish. That is how the budget will be created, not based on what a senator should make and what this person should make and what the person per diem should be. You see all those per diem that you're talking about, gas slip, cut all that out. Now, when it comes to, because I'm saying that they should dissolve the senator, because that is where you're supposed to start. It's not even an abrupt stop. This is actual reality is happening in other African countries. They've done that, and the country is running okay. Okay, but just to stick with your point, so if we're going to keep those guys, yeah, you can cut them down. They making decision on budget and all this stuff. Since they say they came there to make law, take all that from them. Take all that from them. Determining what they're making, all this stuff, take all that from them. Let it be somewhere else. Or determining on going to legislative caucus and all this stuff, you hire already to do the job. If you want to get on a committee, guess what that will do? People that actually really want to work are the ones that are going to be on those committees. Because now you're not going to get no extra money just for going on some committees to make some decision on the very country that you came there to serve. So these are simple, realistic stuff that can actually be done. Okay. Now, when they come to like the different, a lot of stuff should be turned to referendum. Take a lot of stuff away from them, make it public. Remember, they say accountability, right? And how to call accountability and something else. And to be open, put a lot of
transparency,
things,
transparency.
Put all that up. Put a lot of things up for referendum. Okay, because once it's like that, it's in the whole public domain, and the government going to run things with some private and you educate the people, let them know in clear terms, hey, this is what we're trying to do. These are the things. These are some of the pros and cons. Look into it and then vote on it.
But do we have people, do we have people who leaning toward, there people talking about bringing more representatives in? So it's clear, and they all voted on it. It is clear that they have their whole intention is in a completely different direction, and nobody is challenging them. We only have political groups, but we don't have interest groups to say this decision that y'all make. We're not a political group, but this decision has no benefit for Liberia, and we need to revisit it. But we don't hear anybody talking about these essential things. They're only talking about politics, and politics is not an end in itself. Are we doing something wrong, Mommy?
Regarding which decision you're talking about?
To add more representatives.
To add more representatives.
Okay, so I will piggyback on the issue about the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. I want to believe it was in the best interest of collapsing, because I believe in limited government. I did not believe that it was going to be a good idea to have Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Development, Ministry of Planning, like they had a Ministry of how you call it thing. They have too many ministries and agencies, most of the time doing almost the same thing or doing nothing. So I thought it was a good idea for them to collapse some of these ministries and agencies and put them under one minister. Instead of having two ministers and paying them two salaries, just have one minister who supervises the Ministry of Finance and Development of the country, like they have the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. Instead of having the Ministry of Information, have the Ministry of Culture. I mean, it was good for them to like collapse those ministries and agencies, put them under one umbrella, like they had the Ministry of Development, I mean, Gender and whatever it is. They brought it together. I mean, I thought it was a brilliant idea. I did not think that it was going to lead to somebody being micromanaged, but I mean, it is what it is. Everybody believes in different things. I believe in limited government. In fact, I believe that there should be more collapsing of some of those ministries and agencies. Some of those agencies are just duplicating, you know, the function of the other ministries and agencies. So most of them need to, most of them needs to be, most of those ministries and agencies that are duplicating function need to be collapsed into one or eliminated so that we can have more money. Instead of using it to pay people for doing nothing, we can use it to carry on development. Now, I'll go back to your question. The issue about adding more representatives and senators is meant to put more money in the pocket of those who don't have any interest in the people of the country. Those representatives and senators are going to collect huge salaries, and it's only incentivizing bad behavior because they're not accountable. That's why they put those monies and go after it and get rich in few days. Look at Thomas Fala. Thomas Fala was owing people on the plane fee. You couldn't pay. You were riding one ratty motorbike. You will come and borrow money, to go get his wood plane from the bush. This is a guy who is almost a multi-millionaire now, right now, in few years. And the very United Party government were calling him Thief 5 because his name is Thief 5. Thief 5. Their very Thief 5 now is one of the best nephews of the president. Tell me about integrity. So the increase in the number of representatives and senators is only meant to appease few political individuals. It's not meant to improve the life of the Liberians because the money that they will be paying, the salary that they will be paying, the incentive they will be giving them, the gas slip they will be giving them, all will not go to the county development. It will not go to personal development. It will not go to youth development. It will not take Zogo from the street. It will not put medicine in hospital. It will be putting money in people's pocket and make them rich. So I want to say I categorically and unequivocally condemn it. And I don't support it. I will never support it because I know where it leads. It leads to pocketing people. It leads to fattening people's pocket. So I detest it. And
I want to ask you for mommy. Well, but why? Why you would think that these people want to do? Why are they only looking to fatten some new people pockets? Why?
Because they feel that the more people they have in the legislature, the more power they will have. It's a power grab. It's a power grab. Like if you have, like you create, when you see people starting to raise, talking about revolution, you see people trying to come up with ideas as to how to, you know, make the government small. They'll say, oh, let's give more representative seat to social county. Those people within that county will be like, oh, Yahoo Mensuno County, I mean, district in Nima County does not have a representative. If we can have a representative, it will be a good idea. In fact, let's support the idea. So Yahoo Mensuno in Nima County that does not have a representative now will start to fight to have a seat at the table for one of their sons to be there. And that's how they will silence the idea about having a limited government. Because, like, I come from Swen Mecca district. Swen and Mecca combines to have a single district. The next thing, if I become very vocal, they'll say, oh, but my man, do you know that we're trying to fight for, even because you're from Mecca, your mom is from Mecca, you're not part of the Swen people, so Mecca can have its own district. You think you will be representative for Mecca district, saying Mecca does not have a representative? This is what we're fighting for. So keep quiet. Go and fight to be represented in Mecca. Nobody will contest against you if I will support you. Before you know it, you're senator or you're representative, you're receiving big fat salary every month. All those critical voices will be sucked in the idea of having more representatives. And at the end of the day, who will be there to speak for the people? No one. And that's the power grab that's happening. And you see all of them gravitating towards Joseph Boakai because they know there's no accountability on the side of Joseph Boakai. There's no responsibility. They are very irresponsible. They are very unaccountable. They are very secretive. And they want to continue in power like this for the next few years. And our generation will be the victims because we have not experienced anything good since we were born. We saw war, we saw corruption, and we continue to experience it. And we wanted to stop.
Yes. I hear your passion. I hear your pain. But let's go to one last topic here. We used to see the county league as a mechanism to bring people together. It was a source of unity where people used to come together, cheer on their teams, and there was a lot of excitement behind it. People spent their interest and their money toward it. But this year, the County League is taking a rather flat note. It's not providing the same excitement and involvement as before. You think it's a sign of the times, Mr. Tao? What do you say?
Yeah. Before I address that, I want to say something quick.
Okay.
Just to clear something up on the last topic that we just mentioned. Look, having a small government is okay, but integrating two wrong ministries or agencies is not the solution to small government. Planning and development is a very critical area. Finance is there for them to disperse money. They know nothing about development. It is not set up and structured that way. They're only there for them to go ahead and write us some budget and then cut some checks. So development, you're talking about strategic people or planning and engineers and city planners and all these kind of people. Yes. So that's a whole area. She put that together for that purpose. And we saw that because they want to control the money directly. Just the same reason why free port is the only port that everything comes through, even though you have all the other ports along that long coastline. Because for no centralized it right there to control the loot. It was the same reason. It was wrong. They pulled that out. If there is anything, they have plenty development and public works. They can put those together. And then the other ones be like agencies within that. And those three groups actually go together and they can work. So yes, we want small government, but we don't want for them to go ahead and create disjointed stuff by putting something together that doesn't fit. And maybe get rid of post and telecommunication because what are they really do? Nobody posts no letter really anymore, or create some package stuff and stuff
Yeah,
like
post is
so stuff like that. There are a bunch of stuff that we can get rid of, but planning and development is very critical. But okay, so having said that, look at what happened here, Jimmy. Just like the drug issue that we mentioned, right? Before in the past on the show, people are only going to celebrate. You see, recreation, right? For recreation to take place, people have to be doing well. People have to have hope. People have to see some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. So County Meet was meant to bring people together. So there was at least some kind of national agenda that created some kind of excitement. It doesn't exist. People are struggling. Everything. So what are they really celebrating? What are they gathering to do what? When people can barely eat, when people can barely send their kids to school, people don't have place to sleep, people are being harassed every day by kids that are all in the neighborhood at night when nightfall. So unless none of these things are going to work, unless the economic situation in the country gets better. So the County Meat issue that you see is the same as the so-called drug issue. It's not about going to take some injection in your arm, and then you say you did drug test. No, fix the economy, let it work. Create environment in which the youth can participate. They look forward to something. Idleness. I've been here in the U.S. I told you I was in Louisiana, where it's one of the worst area at one time in some neighborhood. All they have to do was to improve the economic condition of those people, and the crime and the drug issue started to vanish. All you have to do, you go to Liberian all the time. You see those children. The moment they say there is even one small accident, almost 500, 1,000 young men and women show up from nowhere. They are idle. They're not doing anything. So it's the same thing. The economy have to be working. People have to be able to afford to eat, pay their rent, send their children to school. Then they have something left over for entertainment, because the County Meet is entertainment. It's pretty much entertainment because there is no unity aspect around it anymore. So all that is left is entertainment. So people cannot go and try to entertain themselves if they are struggling financially.
Makes sense. Mommy, you think this lackluster county league is an indication of something?
Yes, it is. So if you have a population of a very youthful population, of which a significant portion of the youthful population are jobless because there are no job opportunities, and as you know, Liberia is a country that lives on less than $1 a day. What can a man in a country that lives on less than $1 a day use for recreation? How much is left to go and do recreation? Number one. Number two, we have a soccer system or a what we call sports system that is archaic, is not incentivized, is not thought through. They don't plan well. Like by right, Liberia should have a 5 or 10 year strategic plan for this particular country, be where they want to take it in the next 5 years. We've been doing a county meet since Heck was a pup or since I was a schoolboy. It has not gone anywhere. They are not taking it to use it to do anything dramatically different. People set up soccer programs, say, okay, we'll set up these academies, we'll set up this little program so that in the next 5 years, we'll be able to produce a team for the Lone Star. And the Lone Star will be able to go to the West African sub-region and win the trophy there. And from there, we can take that to CAF. I don't know if it's still called CAF, the soccer
CAF.
tournament for Africa. And from there, we'll take people from there to send them to Europe. And when these people come back, they'll be able to win the World Cup for us. So this is our 5-year strategic plan, our 10-year strategic plan, because the World Cup takes place after every, 5 years. So if this is the plan, then we start to give people the reason to go and celebrate the county meet or work towards the county meet. But to be honest with you right now, do you know what the county meet is meant for? For politics. It is a politically driven activity. I bet you right now, the senator or the representative in Bomi County will try to show strength by giving his support to the team. And when the team is playing, he's there and making them to chant for him. I'm the one who bought the jersey for the team. You understand? I'm the one who went to the locker room of the team. Nima County wants to win. Lofa County wants to win. They will manipulate the system so that it can appease the president. The last county meet, how did it end? People were complaining. Where did it go? I think it went to Lofa. Did it? They were trying. You could see the mechanism. You could see the mechanism by which they were trying to manipulate something to be able to give it to the county, the biggest county with the president. And every president does the same thing. Try to make sure that his county wins, give them the necessary financial support to be able to win. When you do like that and disenfranchise the other person who actually got the youth that can win the thing, you discourage the people. You even discourage the cheering squad. You discourage the supporters, the fans. You discourage them.
Exactly.
How many times have we not supported Bomi County to go to the county meet? They don't go anywhere because the manipulation that takes place. Somebody say, oh, the president from Lofa County, so we want for Lofa County to win the thing. Lofa County must win this thing. So that's how it is right now.
Right.
So when you politicize soccer, then the unifying force there is completely out of whack. And at the end of the day, people don't, like my brother said, people don't have food to eat. People don't have any residual income or any kind of leftover income so that they can be able to use it to go to a place. They're not going to go there. The economic situation has to be addressed. Right. If you cannot address the economic situation of the country, there are a lot of activities that which people will not go to attend to. Even people don't even go to hospital. People get sick and they can't afford to go to hospital. They're not going to the hospital. Then that soccer they will go to watch in the kind of economic condition. It's not possible. And it will continue. It's a sign that the economy is struggling. It's a sign that people are struggling. And the government needs to do more to provide jobs for the Liberian people so that they can be able to attend to some of these activities. Thank you.
You know, Mame, a long time ago, the County League, one of the purpose they claimed it was to develop and showcase local talent. But then when they started bringing players from different places to boost up the team, it changed the nature of the competition completely. I tend to agree with you. Now it has looked like it has been become an instrument of politics as usual. I want you guys to give me your closing words. What advice you can give our leaders and our people, because the people need to determine where they need to go. And the leaders, maybe if they hear your voice, they too will change direction. So I'll give you guys each 2 minutes each to conclude or make your closing statements. Senior brother Tao, you can go first.
Yeah. So this is what I can say, what I've always been saying here for 2 years. None of these countries, including Liberia, is going anywhere. Following the system. It's not going to work. These guys are never going to listen. The system is intended, it's very corrupt. So even if you have very good intention and you get in there, you see, it's almost like when you put in water in a gallon. The different crevices of the gallons already drawn out and it's fixed. The water has to flow along those lines in order to fill it. It's the same way. You get there, you have to follow those rules and regulations on how the system works. So what I would say to the Liberian people is, which, by the way, they don't have that much power because they really cannot make any change. Forget about this stuff. The electoral system that you have is called elect and regret. That is what you have. It doesn't matter how many times you go to the polls and you go vote. Whoever you put in there going to turn out the same way. We've seen the result. If the Liberian people have power, the only thing they can do is to go demonstrate, but demonstrate in what way? So they can get gunned down, they can get shot, and all of this stuff. So this is what we have at hand. You can say, oh, the people need to go and look and vote for the right person. Which right person? They try, let's just say from the time that they walked into a close from 2005, they tried this for pretty much almost a quarter of a century. The outcome is getting worse. So this system is held hostage. The country is held hostage by the system, and it is only foes. It must be changed by foes. Those crooks that are holding the country hostage would never let it go. They would never, ever let it go. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
It must be something have to give. The people, you can tell them vote for the right person. Who is the right person? Musa ability, and I want to clarify something here. When I mention Musa ability and then building breaches, I'm not singling him out by himself. Because people, I was saying that him included all the representative senators, they should not be in the business of building breaches and roads. That is not what they have. They're there for. Yes, if Musa ability and Mohammed made a statement, I'm aware of that. That Musa ability by himself cannot just wake up and so he's doing what he thinks he can do. That's fine. And we recognize that. But the goal here is not to where a couple of guys wake up and they're just doing something. They go build some breaches here and there. The goal should be that they put in place processes and plans that then lead to national development agenda that is driven and not by some individual. What I will close with this: the system, if they want to leave it the way it is, it must be reformed. Budget, salaries, benefits have to be set by a completely independent board or entity.
Yeah.
The president or whoever, though, that is where approval of things come from. And the budget have to be done in a way where it's not just based on what this person is getting. It has to be done based on some kind of development agenda. We keep talking about job creation. You can never create job in any country where you don't have industries. If you don't have industries, you cannot create job. A government that don't have industrial base can never create job. You can never grow. You can never progress. Any progress that you hear World Bank and IMF write is all fake. It's on paper because you borrow some money from them. Then you build a couple of stuff and they say you are developing. No, it's not true. If you look at the policy, the World Bank and IMF policy is, they say Africa Development Agenda. They didn't say Africa industrial agenda. The agenda should be in the industrialization of Africa. Because in development without industrialization is actually a fallacy. So
Excellent.
what we are supposed to be looking at is, okay, we have our iron ore. These guys are mining the iron ore. Let us reach an agreement. Take 70%, let's start to refine 30% here and turn it into steel, to steel raw, to all the stuff. Service the domestic market first.
It's called value-added activity.
That's
what
yes,
it's called.
add some value to something. Look, let me tell you something. America is not going to come and kill nobody. And let us not look at our stuff as life and death. No, it doesn't even work that way. Let me tell you, it is the guys that are there. They're so useless because you see this thing that we're saying. To do that, they will actually have to do some actual work. They don't want to do it. Yeah. They can tell Asla Meta, no, we are going to look at this, but also we're going to review the concession. 30% should be produced here, refined here, joint venture. They look at Five Stone. Hey, man, let's do at least 20-25% here, joint venture. Let's produce something. Let us start doing that.
Well said.
That is,
Mommy,
so,
yeah.
I don't want to cut you short, but we'll go a little bit over time now.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Mommy. You're closing.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to say thank you for the show. It was a nice show. It was a very good show, and I appreciate you hosting the show. You did tremendously well. But and I like my brother too. He's very knowledgeable. I appreciate you for coming. What I would say is, this is a generational fight for me. It is a generational fight. Our generation, I will continue to speak for my generation. We were economically disenfranchised. We are being politically disenfranchised. We are being disenfranchised in every aspect. The young people are struggling. The young people are the ones who are the Zogos. The young people are the ones who don't have a job. The young people are the ones whose grandchildren will not experience the benefit that our grandparents inherited. And so this government should realize that the young people are not happy. We need jobs. They need to find a way to create industries, like my brother said, to have value-added activities in the country, to create more jobs, and put people in the private sector, because almost every young man you see right now, he wants to be a politician, he wants to enter government, still with a government that is not accountable, a government that is corrupt, like the Joseph Boakai government, to get rich quick. So every one of them aligning themselves with the political institution, the few can be able to accommodate their bad behavior, their corrupt behavior, so that they can get rich quick. But if you create a system where, or an industry where young people can go to work and make their own living. In the 80s, my father was a mechanic. He could afford to pay my school fee. He could afford to build a house. You know, he could afford to accommodate other family members. He didn't care about government job. We didn't even hear about government. We didn't care about government. We were living our lives in both minds. That's the kind of enabling environment our young people need today. Like we said, our concessions are backward. They are not interested in the interest of the people. Look at Bomi. Bomi is being robbed again. In the 70s, in the 60s, coming to now the 21st century, they're still robbing Bomi. Look at the company that in Bomi, using a road. They're not able to build a track. At the end of the day, they will leave Bomi County and nothing will be left to show. We need to review our concessions. We need to have value-added activities in those concession areas. We need to start producing things. Our government needs to find a way to create an enabling environment for our young people to find jobs. That is how our economy will improve. For them to be building houses, for what sense does it make for a government that came to power on the mantra of not doing business as usual, coming to build a condominium or whatever it is in Lofa County in Foya for future projects? Say, oh, there will be a war, there will be a conflict in the future, and this is where we resolve it. When Zogos do not even have a place to go for rehabilitation. What benefit it is, to what priority it is? Why is the haste about that they got to build something for the future when currently our people who are economically disenfranchised, like the Zogos or the disadvantaged youth, don't even have good medication and good sanitation, good place for rehabilitation. So there's a priority misplacement. So the government needs to set a priority in line with the promises that they made to the Liberian people, to the young people of the country. Create jobs, stop the corruption, be accountable, be transparent, and make sure that there will be companies will be held accountable. The SOEs, they're not contributing to the budget. It's all hurting the country. So what we want as young people, we need an economic empowerment. We need for them to put money in agricultural projects or agricultural bank so that we can go there and take some of those money and carry on agricultural project and be able to feed ourselves. But when these kind of projects happen, when this kind of money come about, the only people that will have access to these monies will be the ministers, will be the senators and the representatives, and the young people who actual farmers who need this money will not get it. And so Joseph Boakai, as president, needs to look into the promises that he made and try to fulfill these promises. But as it is right now, he has failed miserably, worse than George Weah, and we expect that he should course correct. If he cannot course correct in 2028, 2029, we'll be looking for a new direction. As messy as it may be, there are other persons in the race. They are not as good as we expect them to be. But we have to look that way, because at the end of the day, we'll start to look about, I can guarantee you, we'll start to discuss the lesser of two evils. And at the end of the day, that only two persons will be there in the runoff. And if we find somebody who is at least better than, like, the bad man rooting for the bad man, we know two of them bad, but one worse than the other one will lead that one out and go for the lesser of the two evils. That's what's going to happen. So, and we don't have the leaders right now. And I will ask my brother, he has talked about revolution. For me, I'm talking about reform. But if we should have a political revolution to have a new kind of government, what would that form of government be, if not democracy? What would that form of government be, if not this particular form? So what we have is democracy. Unless you can change it to something that I don't know about, we have to reform the one that we have so that it can accommodate us as young people and as old people, as women and children and disadvantaged youth, to be able to have a source of income to be able to transform the life of our generation and the next generation unborn. So thank you. It was a nice show.
Right. That will be a discussion for next time. What form of government will we need to establish? My thing is, whatever form you establish, people have to learn to follow rules. So there's going to have to be a discipline and accountability. And Mr. Wallow, we're going to conclude about this year in review next week. In the meantime, one thing there is still passion and there's still a lot of anticipation for Liberians have, especially the youth who have been deprived of productive environment. But until we get this thing right, we will remain Liberians united to change Liberia. So as our song goes, we are all Liberians.
We are Liberians.